So what's your process when you get to a golf course, and like how do you know which holes to shoot, where to what's the best angle? Like do you do your homework before you get there? Like what's your process?
So yeah, I try to, and a lot of it will depend on what I'm doing on a given day. I mean, a lot of my photos come out of normal rounds. You know, some of the rounds I've played with Riggsy would be the same way. It's just you show up, you're playing golf, and the photos are sort of a byproduct of the round of golf. So if I'm playing at noon, I'm playing at noon, and the photos will come from that time period. Sometimes if I'm going to a course specifically to shoot, I will try to plan it out a little bit better. I like to shoot obviously early in the mornings, late at night when the light is better. In a perfect world, if I'm really trying to shoot up a golf course, or if I'm there because the course is asking me to come to shoot photos for them, or on some occasions hiring me to do that, I will sketch out the whole day. And I always like to play the golf course first, because I feel like in order to get interesting, compelling photos of a course, you need to have played the golf course. You need to know what the signature holes are. You need to know what the best shots of the day are, where the interesting angles are, how the course generally gets played by most people. And I think those kinds of things can help you figure out what the compelling aspects of a golf course. Because otherwise, you're just out there shooting landscape photos. And they'll look pretty, but they won't really say much about the course. At least that's how I try to approach it.
When you are playing, and I've been able to witness this a little bit, but how do you find it to be a burden at all to take photos throughout? I mean, sometimes you have like a little fanny pack, so just talk a little bit about like what
I got the bag today.
What your actual process and sort of mindset is during a round, because I think a lot of people, when they look at your photos, probably think like, man, I want to start trying to take more photos. And you and I, you know that you and I both get this of people, we tell them what cameras we use, people go buy it, and then they're like, I want to take my own photos. So just talk a little bit about like, okay, what is your approach? How often are you trying to be like, I'm fully committed and in the round and engaging with my playing partners, but also I'm going to like, you might not see me for 10 minutes. I'm going to be over in the fucking weeds and in the trees taking photos.
Sure. So part of that depends on what course I'm playing. I mean, if I'm playing a new course for the first time that's really pretty and I don't have any photos of it, I'm going to want to take more than I normally would. For a course that I've shot many times before, like Sleepy Hollow, the last round we played, I'll take less and I'll be focused on specific things. But I will tell you this. I mean, I've done this now so much that it has really become second nature. I mean, there's nothing that prevents me from playing a round of golf and feeling completely engaged in it and also taking photos. Now, there is a difference between taking thousands of photos during a round that I might do if I was there just to shoot, or if I was playing a new place. The first time I played Cypress Point, I took 1 million photos during the round. I didn't know if I'd ever be back, and it was just spectacular. So the camera comes out and it fires for the entire round, and the round of golf is almost, I don't want to say secondary to that, but it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But really, it just comes with practice. I mean, it's like anything else with golf. I'm so used to it now that it really doesn't interfere at all. And there are some times where if I'm playing somewhere and I'm not at least thinking about shooting a photo here or there, it almost feels weird. So it's really just like anything else. It's practice. That Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours thing. I mean, I've been shooting photos of golf courses for a hell of a lot longer than that now. So it just kind of, it's a process now that is almost like autopilot.
I will say I've noticed now that I take, and again, I'm nowhere near, and I want to get into this later too, but I'm nowhere near. I'm actually getting embarrassed when I send you photos. I'm like, I just feel like you're looking at it going like, oh, he went with that angle, or like, does he know if he waited 10 minutes for the sun, how much better that would? Like, I think about that. But I also have noticed now that I love taking photos that like any even like remotely beautiful or compelling shot that I see in real life, I feel like if I don't take a picture of it, I'm like rattled the rest of the day that I like missed it.
Sure.
So how much of you, like, can you even go through your daily life now without, like, if you see something beautiful, you're like, I have to take a picture of that?
It's funny that you say that. I was just up in Maine with my wife, and I said the same thing to her. It's like you shoot photos as much as I do and we do now, and it's almost like you can't help but look around and see things that would make a great photo. You happen to look at a certain landscape and it's like, wow, I really wish I had my nice camera. And it can get a little strange and a little uncomfortable sometimes, to be honest with you. It's weird that you're constantly seeing those kinds of things. So I completely take your point. And there are rare occasions on a golf course when, for whatever reason, I don't have a camera with me. and the sun comes out a certain way or a hole is looking a certain way, and you're just like, damn, I would really like to be able to snap that thing right now, and you can't do it. And that just, again, it sort of goes with that autopilot process I was talking about. If something throws it off, it can be disruptive, which is bizarre.
When you're on the course, how important is it for you to take photos of just the golf course and not like people playing it? Because I feel very rarely do you post photos of anyone. It's always just the golf course.
I don't like people in my photos. I don't like people in my
people
photos.
stink.
Yeah. I mean, occasionally if I'm playing with people and I want to snap a photo of somebody hitting a shot on a nice hole, I will do that on purpose. But the shots where guys are randomly out there walking around or the group in front of us is still on the green, I hate it. It's like my little pet peeve. I can't stand seeing people in my photos.
How much editing goes into your photos?
As little as possible, to be honest with you. I hate editing photos. I find it to be incredibly boring. I shoot in JPEG, not RAW, which a lot of, I'm not a very technical photographer. A lot of these guys who are into photos will talk for hours about the specs of their camera or about, this new lens that they got that, is an f2.8. It is, 72 millimeter zoom. And it's like, I am not into that stuff at all. I try to take a photo that captures what I see on a course, and the equipment is a way to do that, but it's not really the motivation behind it. I mean, I am into the gear, but I am not that into the technical specs of it. So, it's the same goes for editing. I do everything on this pad right here, this iPad Pro that I use. I don't use a computer in my workflow. I certainly like to crop my photos to get it, the frame to look the way I want it to, and I'll tweak some levels and some curves and some brightness, but it takes far too long to edit batches upon batches of photos, and the returns you get from it are not worth the time invested. It's a lot easier to get it right in the camera so that you don't have to do any of that boring work after the fact.
Have you studied photography before?
No.
Take any classes or anything?
No.
So how much of it do you attribute to just like you just have like a natural vision and ability? Because like I said, like I can take photos with the same equipment and mine stink, and yours are phenomenal.
I don't know that I'd agree with you that your photos stink.
But like, the framing, and you'll get like a tree
right?
in this part, and the sun in this part, and the lighting on that, and it's just like, holy shit, how did he see it like that?
It's nice of you to say. I do not know, and I do not really think that I would say that I have a natural talent for it, but I do have a lot of practice, and I do love golf. And